everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the Fan Show After Dark. That's right, everyone's a fan of something, and we've got something for every fan, especially fans of things after dark. The award-winning Fan Show is on its own schedule sometimes. I mean, really, that's what it's all about, is if you can't make it work at the time that you're supposed to, you still have to make it work. So we try to keep to a schedule, but sometimes the wait is well worth it. And obviously, that's a casualty of war, and by war I mean when you do these late episodes that I'm probably going to get tongue-tied quite a few times before the end of this, say some words backwards, forwards, maybe even sideways, but we're going to get through it. And I appreciate those of you that are tuning in to another edition of Fan Show After Dark, which is really just the fan show after the sun has gone down. And if moving the clocks forward like we do this Sunday teaches us anything, then we could probably still be doing this time spot in July and it's not going to be dark. So then it's just the Fan Show much, much later than it was supposed to be originally. So I'll have to work on a name for that. Except if you're in the East, if you are in the Eastern time zone, then it's probably very, very dark. Midwest, probably a little darker. But here, the sun went down about an hour and a half ago. So when we move the clock forward, if we do this again, the sun's probably still going to be out. So it's not going to be the Fan Show After Dark from here. I'd have to close the curtains and dim the lights for those of you watching on Facebook Live, and it'd be different. We could make it work. We could set the mood for you. That's fine. Tonight's episode, it is Thursday. And so with that comes the predictions for the next week of the AAF action. And I just looked at the schedule to make sure I had my games right. And it's going to be probably, in my mind, now I forget if there is still, it's not a 16-game season like the NFL. It's a bit shorter one. And so I think we're not quite at the midway point yet, but we are beyond the quarter of the way point. So at this point, whatever it is in the season, this weekend is probably the best matchup of games, given their respected records and everything else going on in the league. We got a lot of really good stuff going on there. And then, of course, IFL week number 3, looked at those matchups as well. We've got some really good ones. So this is going to be a great weekend of football, outdoor and indoor. And you can't ever say that, I think, before in March in history. I don't think that's ever been able to be said before, that we're going to have great football, both outdoor and indoor, in the first, or is it the second weekend of March now? I'm trying to look at my calendar. I can't see it. But either way, if you don't have plans this weekend, great. Sit back, relax, enjoy football. If you have plans, cancel them. They're not going to be better than what you've got going on. If you went to a concert last night instead of tuning into the Fan Show, then to each their own. It's whatever. Yeah, I see you, Adam. Adam's back. Adam, it's good to have you. He says, cue the saxophone theme. I got to work on that. I wonder if my theme guy, Andy Rumsey, who wrote, composed, and recorded my theme, if he could do a little smooth jazz, some saxophone in there, maybe cut it down to half the speed, slow it way down, half tempo. I'll run it by him. I'll see. That could be fun. It could be fun. We'd only use it every once in a while, but I think just having it would be a lot of fun. Let's see here. 10-game schedule, Adam says. Thank you. He's like my own personal little Wikipedia. So, my God, we're at the midway point of the season. Crap! Anyway, so the midway point of the season, these matchups, they're really good. This could dictate the postseason, which I know there's only 8 teams, but this could mean a lot to how that all shakes out, which we'll see how it goes. Of course, we'll go over that during headlines. And the reason for the wait, the reason that we're having this episode later than usual, is because my special guest tonight, who I already spoke with, we recorded it, was not available during or before the regularly scheduled broadcast time. And when you get a guest like this during a week like this, you want to make sure that you work with them however you can. So if that means that the show has got to air late, then by God, it airs late. And I wasn't going to have it air tomorrow because I'm going to be in the air. I'm going to be flying from here to Omaha, Nebraska, because it's like a $300 difference to fly into Omaha, Nebraska than it is Des Moines, Iowa. And it's a 2-hour drive difference, and I'm fortunate enough that I have some friends that kind enough to come and get me and take me back. And I look forward to seeing my Iowa family this weekend. So with that, let's go ahead and get to today's headlines. I'm squinting, realizing that my glasses aren't on. I don't know why I got to make things harder than they need to be. Anyway, headlines are brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They make amazing things, especially like custom stickers, which if you're in Iowa this weekend, I'm going to bring you some stickers. Oh, that's the wrong way. I will bring you some stickers. I got stickers of all 6 divisions, including the Infinity Gauntlet, but they can do shirts, hats, koozies, coasters. They can do trophies, banners, table runners, backdrops. I mean, you name it, they can do it, and you just got to hit them up, and they'll make it happen. There's stuff waiting for me at the house I'm staying in Iowa that they just got done making, and I am stoked to see it because I've seen what he's done with this for other companies, and I said, can we do that for the show? And he's like, yes, we can. What do you want on it? And I told him, so I think it's going to look fantastic. I think the tour, which is officially starting Saturday, is going to look even better thanks to Ethan and Dynamite Enterprises. So visit dynamiteenterprises.com. And then also, if you want, reach out to Ethan directly, ethan@dynamiteenterprises.com. So the headlines today, let's go ahead and get it out of the way because it's a note that we don't usually tune on the show, and that is a sadder note. Nate Rogers, who you may remember, I did an interview with him while I was at the College Gridiron Showcase in Fort Worth, Texas, and then welcomed him back a few weeks ago. He's a wide receiver from Wayne State University. In fact, Lucas Hefty, a former Iowa Barnstormer, was his wide receivers coach at Wayne State University. The world? Smaller. Very small world. But anyway, he's practically family at this point as far as I'm concerned because we had a great conversation at CGS. He's been on the show since then. We keep in touch. I know his agent. We keep in touch as well. Same agent that is Tommy Armstrong's agent, who's also in the IFL. So my world continues to grow and shrink at the same time. But I do consider him long-distance family. And his father passed away today, and it's a tough time for that to happen because he is on his own path to the draft, or at least free agency. He's on his path to the NFL, and his father passed away today, and I know that he has been chin up. He's been positive. And that's kind of what you have to be when something like that happens. So, Nate Rogers, thoughts and prayers with you, man. I know that this is probably one of the most difficult times you'll ever have to go through in your entire life. And for it to happen at the time that it happens, it's probably going to mean so much more to him when he makes that 53-man roster. But it sucks. You know, sometimes the world sucks on certain days, and today that is a day that I think we got to deal with it. So, Nate Rogers, thoughts and prayers out to you, man. Stay strong, keep your head up, keep grinding. The best is yet to come for you, I believe. NFL news, Case Keenum is going to the Redskins. I wonder what Walter Lee thinks about that. Which means that there's probably going to be quarterback controversy. I think Alex Smith is the better quarterback between the two, if you ask me. And I know that it may have been a season-ending injury, but it also may have been a career-ending injury for Alex. We'll see. I hope he comes back from it. And will he be the same QB? I don't know. I'm sure you're never the same after an injury like that. But I think Alex Smith is the better quarterback. Maybe Keenum will be better with the Redskins. I don't think Elway really gave him much of a chance, not like the Vikings did. So Broncos will send the Redskins Keenum, and they will swap 6th and 7th round picks in 2020. While at the Combine, the Bears were approached by multiple teams, according to league sources, about acquiring Jordan Howard, the running back. They're negotiating deals, I guess, or they're discussing deals. And then the Browns have released Collins, cornerback Jamie Collins. He's gone. And so that's pretty much what's happened in the NFL today to get you caught up. And then let's see here. In the AAF, we've got the matchups for week number 5, and I think it's going to be a good one. And then in wrestling news, we've got Fastlane, WWE Fastlane. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch if you are a wrestling fan. And let's see here. I wanted to bring up what the matches were because I completely forgot about it until I hit go live. But the AAF Week 5, like I said, I think it's the best set of matchups we've got. And with that then, let's go ahead and run down the Week 5 matchups for the AAF. Orlando at Birmingham. The Apollos and the Iron, the two best teams in the AAF. Apollos are the only undefeated team remaining at 4-0. The Iron is 3-1 after suffering their first loss of the season this last week by 1 point. They're definitely going to look to rebound. And, God, this is a tough pick for me because it's in Birmingham, and you have to kind of give the tilt to the home team, especially coming off the first loss. They're going to look to get right back into that win column. And they've had a very tough defense, but Orlando has constantly found a way to overcome any adversity and obstacle thrown at them. So this game is tough. I'm going to come back to this one. I'm going to come back to this guy. That one, though, is Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time. Or 2 o'clock, sorry. 2 o'clock Eastern time. So the Salt Lake Stallions will take on the San Diego Fleet. Because they don't have their starting quarterback who wasn't the original starter in week 1, I think the Stallions are probably going to win this. But they have had time to prepare and adjust, and the Fleet seem to be doing a lot better, especially in the run game and the special teams game, so you can't really sleep on them there. But I'm going to go with the Stallions. I think they're due for another win. San Diego's very back and forth, but I think the Stallions are due for a win. This could be a week that we see all the road teams win. I'm looking at it right now. So that game is 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern on Saturday. Then Sunday, the Memphis Express and the Atlanta Legends, both 1-3. I'm going to go with the Express just because I still feel like Atlanta is the worst team in the league, and the Express finally found a way to win, a very convincing win over the San Diego Fleet. And that was no easy get. So I'm going to go with Memphis on that one. That game is 1 Pacific, and so that is 4 Eastern time. And then finally Sunday, your nightcap, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. The San Antonio Commanders against the Arizona Hotshots. I'd like to say that Arizona is due for a win, but the Commanders, you can never really count them out. I think San Antonio... No, you know what? Arizona is at home. I think this is going to be the one home win. Arizona Hotshots will get that victory. So let's go back to it. I know I'm stalling. Orlando, Birmingham, Apollos, and Iron. And give me the Apollos, man. Like, if there was a team that could beat them, I think it will be the Iron. I think it would be a close, low-scoring matchup if they manage to get the win. But I think if it's close at halftime and Birmingham is behind, the Apollos are just going to, I don't know. They make great halftime adjustments. They find ways to win. So give me the Apollos, make it 5-0. Birmingham gets its second loss in a row. That's a tough one to pick. Your thoughts on Week 5 matchup as we go ahead, and I'm going to kick it over to wrestling here real quick. And let's see what we've got for Fastlane, the card. Looks like we've got the WWE Championship, which is the new Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. And then we've got Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. If Becky wins, then she is added to the match between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, so it would become a triple threat. If she loses, she's out. And then we've also got the Shield. They're reunited versus Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley, or as I call them, Big, Bald, and Black. That's really what it is. Shield's going to win that. Becky Lynch is going to win her match. And then we've got the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka, the champion, versus Mandy Rose. Probably going to be Asuka. SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos, the champions, versus Miz and Shane McMahon. This is a weird one. I think it's probably going to be the Usos again, though. Let's see. The Women's Tag Team Championship. I forgot that that's a new thing now. And so, let's see. Bayley and Sasha will defend their titles against Nia Jax and Tamina. And let's see, the Raw Tag Team Championship, we've got the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. That'll probably be the match of the night. In all honesty, I think it'll be fantastic. And then on the kickoff, Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas. So, yeah, it's the pay-per-view before Mania. I don't really see a whole lot of changes happening. Congratulations to Samoa Joe. He won a Fatal 4-Way to win his first main roster title, the United States Championship on SmackDown. And I feel really weird about him winning that on SmackDown and Finn Balor winning the Intercontinental title on Elimination Chamber, pinning Lio Rush. It seems like we'll give it to you, but it's going to be like a soft lob. Just doesn't seem to do those two talents justice to win them that way. All right, so IFL week number 3. Here we go. Saturday, the Sioux Falls Storm will take on the Nebraska Danger. Sioux Falls fresh off of a bye week. Nebraska fresh off their first loss of the season. Kickoff is at 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central Time for you Midwesters. And then that one will probably be a very good game. But, man, what have they made adjustments on the Storm's defense? That's the big question because Nebraska has a very potent offense. But, of course, Curtis Riggs, you can never count him out. I doubt there's many that can outcoach him in any facet of the game. So that is technically your first game on Saturday. All 3 games on Saturday kick off at the same time. We also have the San Diego Strike Force against the Cedar Rapids River Kings. That is at 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central Time. Both teams looking for their first win, so this is one of those early someone's got to win games, right? And then the creme de la creme, the centerpiece of Saturday, the banner raising, unveiling, drop, whatever the hell you want to call it. Green Bay Blizzard, Iowa Barnstormers, 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central Time. I will be at that game. It is the first official stop on the Fan Show Tour 2019. And I cannot wait to see all my friends in Iowa and the guys from Green Bay. It's always a great time. I probably know the most from both teams, and so it'll be like one big happy Fan Show family reunion. I'm very excited about that. And then Sunday there is one game, and that will be the Bismarck Bucks taking on the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Bismarck had a bye after a loss, so they're really aching for a win. Tucson, though, won in their debut, so will they keep that momentum alive? This game, though, is at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, 5 Central Time. And I think, the Nebraska Storm game is going to be really good. I think even San Diego Cedar Rapids is going to be really good because despite what the coach of the Strike Force may have said earlier this week, they're competitors still. That you can't, just because the coach says or does something doesn't mean that that's reflected in the players and whatnot. Let's see here. Hey, Don. Hello from Arizona. Let's see. We'll check in on some comments here before we get to my featured guest, my very special guest of the evening, who I have not yet revealed. Adams says Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan for the championship should be a good one. It really should be. I'm curious as to what they're doing with this. A New Day interference? Probably. Let's see here. It is a must-win for Salt Lake. I will agree with you on that. Let's see. Another one says here, until they lose, I think Orlando is always the best pick. Yes, but this is the toughest one, is it not? Birmingham, the Iron, have been a solid team. Their only loss has been by 1 point. 1 point. That is ridiculous. And then, let's see here. Apollos is Adam's guarantee pick of the week. I hate that you just did that because I picked Orlando too. I'm not going to change my pick now, Adam, but I hate that you just made it your guarantee pick of the week. You got to stop with that. But anyway, Adam's a good guy. That's why I read his comments on the air, because I think he's very knowledgeable, friendly, and he knows several of the fan show's divisions. But yeah, 1 point loss. The San Antonio Commanders, 12-11. It's a tough pick, but yes, as I have said every week on the fan show, and I will reiterate this until further notice, the Apollos of Orlando are the best team in the AAF. And if you guys missed my power rankings yesterday, not much has changed, just a few towards the middle, but there's a lot of changes in the IFL power rankings. In fact, we'll go back down them right now. Number 10, Bismarck Bucks. Number 9, the Cedar Rapids River Kings. Number 8, the San Diego Strike Force. Number 7, the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Number 6, the Nebraska Danger. Number 5, the Quad City Steamwheelers. Number 4, the Sioux Falls Storm. Number 3, the Green Bay Blizzard. Number 2, the Arizona Rattlers. And number 1, your champion, Iowa Barnstormers. And Green Bay is so high on that list because they have played 2 very tough opponents to start out. They are 1-1. And, Quad City and Sioux Falls have been great, but Sioux Falls' win was just too close for comfort. Quad City, they had a great win over Bismarck, and then they had a tough loss against Iowa. So again, strength of performance, strength of opponent, and then what your record is and what you've done for me lately and what I think you'll do for me soon. And those are your IFL official Fan Show official power rankings going into week number 3. Let's see. Nebraska Sioux Falls will be good. Green Bay, Iowa will be good. Cedar Rapids will pick up the win, and Tucson will pick up the win. I think, and I don't like to do picks, but I think that those are, confident assumptions there. There's just something about San Diego, and it's not even their coach. It just seems like because everything was done so late and thrown together so fast that they compete well, but I think their problem is going to be what Green Bay's problem was last year, and that's that they just can't play 4 full quarters of football. And until they are able to do that, it's going to be a long season for them. Tucson, though, this team was assembled the right way. You look at San Diego and Tucson, you see a tale of 2 teams. Expansion teams debuted the same year, but man, they are going to have 2 very different seasons. Mark my words. You will see how a new franchise in a league is done right and how it's done not so right. And I really do wish the best for the San Diego Strike Force, despite whatever dumb comments their coach may make. I know the guys on there are competitors. They could compete anywhere. They could easily fill a void on any team in the league and other leagues, but it's just you got to go where you can find a home. And for them, their home is San Diego. So I do wish them the best. I'm not wishing any ill will or intent on the Strike Force, but I just think that when you look at the 2 franchises side by side as expansion teams, you will see how you handle one appropriately and how you don't handle one. I could be completely wrong. They could swap. They could zigzag on me, and San Diego could be a playoff contender, and the Sugar Skulls could flop. But I just don't see it that way. My experience with this league, with the players, staff, ownership, and everything tells me that you will see these 2 teams go 2 very different directions. And so with that, on a much more lighter note, I would like to at this time direct you to the link there for Spreaker. You can join the chat because this is a great conversation, one of my favorite conversations I get to have. It is the last new episode, the last conversation before the Fan Show Tour 2019 kicks off this Saturday, Des Moines, Iowa, at the Well. Barnstormers, Blizzard, going to be a lot of fun, and who better to talk about it than my favorite, Skywalker Joe Stasi, the voice of the Iowa Barnstormers. Click on it, tune in now, and enjoy our conversation with Mr. Joe. All right, joining me now is a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one of the best ones I can. He is the voice, the standard, really, of play-by-play calling in the Indoor Football League and could be anywhere else. He is the voice of the Barnstormers, Joe Stasi. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, my gosh, that's very, very kind of you. And just for even to say that, there's a number of terrific play-by-play voices in the Indoor Football League, and I'm just proud to be one of them.
Yeah, I always say Barnstormer fans, you guys are spoiled, and I think that You are a master of your craft just because you put in the time and effort to perfect it. You know, the 6 Ps that you've told me that I've practiced myself, and I think it's something to live by. But happy to have you back on, especially on the eve of the big day, the banner unveiling of the championship, the champion Iowa Barnstormers. How's that make you feel this week?
Well, I cracked them. I was always I was an athlete in high school and college, and then I played some amateur baseball and tried to make it in the minors. Wasn't good enough, and played college football and college baseball, and got into the broadcasting business in 1991. I know that makes you feel young. But for the first time in my professional career last year, Dixie Luton and the Iowa Barnstormer organization brought us a championship, and I've got some hardware to show for it. And this Saturday night, with a 1-0 record, a big win on the road against the Quad City Steamwheelers. I saw your stuff on Facebook, by the way. It's terrific work. Your top 10 plays of the week. I love it. We get to raise the banner against the Green Bay Blizzard, 7:05. We encourage people that they're going to get there early, and they're going to draw for a chance to win an authentic championship ring, and then watch the banner being raised at Wells Fargo Arena forever. And just to be a spoke in the wheel on that is a feather in my cap.
Yeah, I will say it is a special moment because you think about how long sports in general have been a thing, how long the IFL has been a thing. It took 10 seasons of the IFL for the Barnstormers, who have a storied history well beyond that, and names like Kurt Warner that have donned the goggles on the helmet. So this was a well-deserved, in my mind, long overdue moment. And it's funny you mentioned the ring. I was going to say, the saying is, heavy is the head that wears the crown. How heavy is the hand that wears the ring? Like, do you have to change up your drinking hand? Is it, because that is a serious piece of hardware you got there, Joe.
No, I drink with my right hand, and I wear my ring on my left hand, so I'm okay there. But, the thing is so big and so gaudy and so beautiful. The Barnstormers, John Pettit, did a terrific job of designing it, but it's more of a keepsake. I have it in a little case, and I put it in my office at home, and I wear it on special occasions if I have an appointment or I want it to be a conversation starter. It's just something that it's a family heirloom now. God willing, I'm on this earth for a long period of time, and I know I want my 13-year-old daughter. Again, God willing, she lives a long, healthy life to be able to keep it and show people. And it's just something that, the championship call that we had. Came down to the final wire, and so many broadcasters don't get the opportunity to have that type of experience. We scored a touchdown late to take a lead late in the football game with Terrell Pearson with 13 seconds left to go, giving us a 42 to 38 lead with 13 seconds left to go, and the Sioux Falls Storm then got the football back late and had 3 shots at it, and it came down to one final play, and I got a chance to make that call, and it was all emotional, and it came off better than I thought, and it'll be a treasure trove that I will always have on tape, and a magical moment that will always live in Barnstormer history.
It was, and I have listened to the call several times. I was there to witness the plays.
Not as much as I have. I think, listen, Richard, listen, RT, I think I listened to that thing 100 times the first week, and then I kind of tapered it down, and now I'm down to about twice a week. So,
oh, hey. Yeah. That's fair enough, because I think that it's something to be very proud of. Your voice forever immortalized on that moment in Barnstormer history. It's a great honor, Joe, and for you to be the voice, to be a sportscaster and a broadcaster and such a professional, and to have the hardware like you're part of the team, because in all honesty, you are just as big as the staff, the players, and everyone else listed on there. But, it's something that not everybody gets to do, but I think everyone in our industry should aspire to achieve, because there's really, I'm sure you could tell me, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. And, I had to hold my emotions and dig deep to get through it, get to a commercial break, and then, break down and have some tears real quick and just grab your breath. And, your blood pressure is going through the roof, and you realize that you finally win a championship, and then you go join your team and the organization and enjoy the fellowship, and then the off season comes, and you wait for the next season, and things are looking pretty good right out of the gate for the Iowa Barnstormers.
Speaking of which, it will be not only a special occasion, but a special matchup. Green Bay Blizzard and the Iowa Barnstormers have quite the storied history together. Green Bay coming off of a win, probably to them so early in the season, felt like a championship win just because it came down to the wire and they were able to compete for 4 full quarters. But now they face the reigning champions at home on a night that's supposed to be all about them. What are your feelings about calling a game like this to start out the home portion of the season for the Iowa Barnstormers?
You know what's ironic about it, Richard, is we got the first broadcast out of the way on the road against the Quad City Steamwheelers, and I thought I had a really good call. Last year I lost my color commentator Larry Kotler in a tragic flooding accident. He drowned. Longtime sports broadcaster in the Des Moines market. So it was, with a heavy heart that I cracked a mic last Sunday, and I did it with laryngitis and a chest cold. And when we got out and we came away with a victory, we never relinquished the lead. We faced a Quad City team that had a game under their belt already against the San Diego Strike Force. Quad City brought back numerous pieces of on their offensive side of the ball and their defensive side of the ball. And quite frankly, we didn't know what we had. We lost Drew Powell, the MVP at quarterback for the Iowa Barnstormers. We lost. Came into the game without Bryce Enyard, our defensive MVP of the league, with an Achilles injury. He's still not back. 7 players coming back. So basically, you revamped your lineup, and Coach Dixie Wooten and the rest of his staff, coaching staff, got these guys ready to play. And you go on the road and you beat the Quad City Steamwheelers 53-39. You never relinquished the lead. You were always on top. Got some play. Daquan Neal just had a terrific night, 10 of 11, 154 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also led the team in rushing with 41 yards and a touchdown, and threw the ball. It distributed equally to Ryan Ballantyne, the United Bowl MVP, 5 catches, 85 yards, 3 touchdowns. Connor Hollenbach, former Cedar Rapids Titan, now the River Kings, 4 catches, 46 yards and a touchdown. And it was terrific, to come away with a victory. I was surprised. I thought it would be a much closer ball game. Nobody knew what to expect. And on the defensive side of the football, you bring back most of your secondary, and B.J. Butler on the defensive line, Jordan Wycliffe in the secondary, along with Terrell Pearson. And the Barnstormers didn't disappoint. They came away with a win, a hard-fought win. And as far as the broadcast this weekend, it's a little bit, and since this is the F.A.N show, I can kind of speak at will. I may get bumped. I may get preempted this week. As you know, with the Iowa Barnstormers broadcast, they don't spare any expense on the broadcast. We broadcast on Des Moines Sports Station 1460 KXNO for the radio show, and then the games are on News Radio 1040 WHO, which encompasses the entire state of Iowa. And we are News Radio 1040 WHO is the home and away station for Iowa men's and women's basketball. And so if the Iowa Hawkeye women win on Friday night, I may get bumped for the first time ever, and there may not be a radio broadcast. Yeah, you know what? And, hey, you know what? You have to I'm going to be there for my team regardless. I'm sure I'll probably hang out with you. I hope that I'm on the air, which would mean that the Iowa Hawkeye women lose, and I don't ever want to go on air locally and say that. But it's a fine line, and I may not get the call this Saturday night, but we wish the Iowa Hawkeye women the best, and they've had a terrific season. And all that matters is the Iowa Barnstormers get a solid performance and a win over the Green Bay Blizzard, and we raise the banner and give away a championship ring to one lucky fan.
Yeah, it's a rock and a hard place for you, and you do wish the women the best, but at the same time, you know that it's a moment that your voice should definitely be a part of. I mean, that goes without saying. It would be just odd to not hear you on that call. So we'll hope that whatever the plan is, whatever God's plan is for this weekend, is as it needs to be. But Joe, I got to say, man, that you are something special, and you and I have had numerous conversations, and I feel like you and I build each other up from so far away, and I couldn't have been more proud to have a friend like you and to have you in that moment for that game last year, to get that call and for everything to happen the way that it needed to. So I knew that on my way to Iowa this weekend, and I'll be there. I can't wait to see you. That I wanted to have you on the week of to say, congratulations again, and I'm just so happy that you got to be part of the team in such an honorary way for that championship last year.
Well, I appreciate it, and then everything you're doing, and with your wife. Your wife's your biggest cheerleader, and what you're doing with Dan Patrick Wholesale University, and your skill level. You just keep on doing what you're doing, Richard, and good things are going to happen. And in my case, which might be the same in your case, hey, you know what? You have to have, sometimes you have to have a real job is the only way I can say it. And, to make ends meet, but you have the skill, you have the determination, you have the intestinal fortitude to make it in this industry, and I hope you continue to do it, because you do a tremendous you're a tremendous asset to the indoor football league and everything you cover. I mean, for crying out loud, I mean your vast array of sports things you cover blows me away. I could not even come close. I can do football, I can do basketball, I can do baseball, and that's it. I can't do what you do, and your technical skills are off the charts, and I love following you on Facebook, and I look forward to seeing you this Saturday at Wells Fargo Arena. We'll hang out and do whatever we need to do, and if I don't get to call the game, it'll be a sad day for me, but at the same time, it's all about the Barnstormers, and that might mean I get to hang out with you a little bit more.
Absolutely, Joe, and win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be in town. You're going to be around, so we're going to go out and we're going to have a good time because it's long overdue, and so I can't wait to see you guys. So hey, enjoy the rest of the radio show and interacting with the fans, and I will see you Saturday.
Richard Cheeman, you do a great job. Love your program. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. And once again, thank you, Skywalker Joe Stasi. There's just certain people that you talk to, certain people that you get to know in this industry that it's weird for us. I remember, real quick before we wrap up here, I remember a thought that I had when it was the same thought I had when Stuart Scott passed away as when Mean Gene passed away. We are a very, dare I say, elite group of people that do what we do as sportscasters, entertainers, really. And it's that we we're the person asking the questions of the people that everyone else wants to hear from, right? And Mean Gene, thankfully, was able to sort of isolate himself and make him one of the key components in the success of wrestling when it came to the production value, backstage, the interviews, the promos. I mean, Mean Gene is a synonymous name with wrestling and what everyone back there doing backstage interviews should aspire to be. Stuart Scott really was that for SportsCenter. He went off the beaten path. He did his own thing, and it's hard to do that. It is hard to do your own thing in an industry that requires you to do so much, to play by their rules. And that's what I've loved about the freedom of the Fan show, is I can pretty much do whatever I want, and I treat it like a job. I try to conduct myself as a professional, but you know, when you meet a guy like Joe Stasi, it's a friendship of a colleague, of someone who, out of everyone else in your life, they might be the only person that really gets what you're going through, how hard you work. My wife gets it, obviously, but Joe does it, and he knows how tough of a journey it is, how much of a almost thankless job it is, because we're simply calling what we see, and we're providing our own visual, verbally, of the action being put together by the incredible athletes out there on the field. When we do an interview, we're asking the questions that we believe not only ourselves, but the fans would want to hear answered, and we're asking them to the people that everybody is wanting to hear from. You know, nobody's asking us the questions. We're asking the questions. We're calling the play-by-play. Nobody's doing play-by-play of our day-to-day life, although I think it would be really funny if it was. So when you get into an industry like this, where there's all this star power around you, and you have colleagues that probably are going to come and go a lot, the friendships that you make when you can, where you can, are something that you need to hold on to forever. And that's what I hopefully have done with Joe. He's a mentor, he's a friend, and I consider him extended family, really, at this point. He's always a great person to talk to. So that's my little tidbit there as we wrap up the last episode before the Fan Show Tour 2019 officially kicks off in Des Moines, Iowa at the Wells Fargo Arena, a.k.a. The Well. Green Bay Blizzard, Iowa Barnstormers, raising of the banner. We've said it a lot, I'm sure we'll say it again, but this Saturday is what 10 years in the IFL in the making, and God knows many, many more have been in the making too. They've been crowned champions, and now they're going to drop a banner from the rafters to forever commemorate that achievement. Unless, of course, it's Spokane, where once you lose the team, you lose the banners too. That's a conversation for another day. I'm sorry. I really couldn't help myself. All right, folks. So remember, we will be back next week with all new episodes, all new top 10, all new power rankings, all new everything, and I can't wait. My favorite time of the year. I can feel it. Can you feel it? Huh? Yes. So until then, follow along on Twitter at FanShowOfficial, the Instagram, The Fan Show, Facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. We'll probably do Facebook Live. Periscope, I haven't done one of those in a long time. Instagram Live. We'll make sure that you guys get all the behind the scenes, all the best coverage that only the Fan Show can provide, because it's not official unless it's Fan Show Official. Best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.